Hey everyone, welcome back to another Safari Ltd review. Today we're taking a look at their Qianzhousaurus, which is part of their 2020 lineup. I ended up picking this figure up directly from Safari. It retails for $12.99, and as always, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to order this figure for yourself. I don't think anyone could have predicted that Safari would be producing a Qianzhousaurus for 2020, but what is a Qianzhousaurus? Qianzhousaurus is a type of long-snouted tyrannosaur. This animal right here is related to its larger cousin, Tyrannosaurus rex, and it has the nickname of Pinocchio rex. And the reason for that is the species of dinosaur had a very, very long snout compared to the deeper, broader snouts of other Tyrannosaurus species. So that's why it has that nickname, Pinocchio rex, for that very, very long snout that it has. Qianzhousaurus was discovered in southern China. It lived between 72 and 66 million years ago, which means it existed right up into the mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous period. So before we take a closer look at this model, let's do a couple quick measurements. This figure is pretty much exactly 9.5 inches long from the tip of that long snout to the tip of the tail, and just about 3.5 inches tall to the top of the head right there. So Qianzhousaurus was about 26 to 30 feet long. So with those size measurements, that put this figure somewhere in the 132 to the 137 scale range. As you can see, this figure is sculpted in a standard walking pose with its mouth agape, and it is a bipedal figure, and it actually stands quite well. It's a very, very stable figure. And if you look at the feet really quick, they are not oversized. Just those three toes are really splayed out to add extra support to this figure. And the color scheme on this figure really isn't too striking. It's mostly a very, very light green coloration throughout most of the body with some orange shading along the sides of the stomach and arm side of the head and legs. And then you have some nice brown striping going down its back. Very, conservative color scheme, but I think it does work pretty well on this figure. So let's zoom in and take a closer look at some of the finer details on this figure. You can see once I'm zoomed in that this figure is very well textured. Sometimes the promotional images Safari puts out, the figures really don't look that good until you get them in hand. So when I took this figure out of the packaging when I got it today, I was very impressed by all the very fine scale detail on it. And it was actually a lot bigger than I thought it would be. Sometimes I just judge the size of these figures by the price point, and it's a $12.99 figure, and compared to some of the other figures that are roughly the same size, like their $15 Deinonychus and $20 Pachycephalosaurus, I was actually surprised by the size of this figure for the price point. All right, let's zoom in closer and take a look at that head sculpt. You can see they got the Qianzhousaurus head sculpt down pretty well. You get that very long snout, which is a characteristic of this dinosaur. The eye is painted in a bright blue with a black pupil. That head ornamentation is highlighted in white paint. Now, one part of the head I really don't like, you can clearly see the gum line is sculpted in, but it's the same color as the rest of the body. I kind of wish that was painted in like a pink color to really define the jaws. It just kind of just looks weird like that to me, I guess. But looking inside the mouth, you can see the teeth are not that well defined. Especially on the bottom jaw, they just look like they were just painted in with a brush. But if you run your fingers along it, you can definitely feel the teeth, but they are very, very tiny. They're really, really deep set into the gums. Like, just looking at it from the profile, this dinosaur really doesn't look like it has teeth. It almost has it's like gumless and screaming. You can just see the teeth poking down a little bit from the top jaw. So let's turn the figure over right here and look at those top teeth. Those are sculpted in better, but I kind of just wished it a little bit more pronounced, just, from the side. Like I said, the profile just makes the animal look very gumless, but looking inside the mouth, you can see a lot of great detail, and I love how it looks like the throat goes all the way back. It just disappears into a shadow. I think that is really, really cool looking. And then when looking at the figure from the front, let me just pull this camera out. The eyes really aren't symmetrical. This one looks a little higher than this one. This is like the same problem we saw with their, excuse me, their 2019 Carnotaurus, but it doesn't look as bad on this model. You can see the paint on the nose on that ornamentation is a little bit sloppy. And let's just turn it around from this side so you can see the head from this side. The ear hole is clearly defined. You get all beautiful scale detail all the way down the neck. A lot of nice texturing on this figure. And turning it over, you can see that the stomach is cream colored. And going down to the hands, you can see some nice scale detail along those hands right there. The claws are painted in a very dark gray color. You can see some nice folds and wrinkles along the side. Looking at the back, you can see more of that brown striping contrasting with that very, very light green coloration on this figure. The hips are clearly defined and a lot of nice muscle detail along the hind legs. And going down to the feet, you can see the feet are very well detailed. A lot of nice scale detail going down the legs. Like I said, the toes are kind of splayed out, but that helps a lot with the stability of this figure. This figure is very stable. And then going down to the tail, you can see the tail has a lot of nice scale detail on it. More of that striping along that light green background. Let's get my camera to focus in on that and turning it over. You can see there is definitely a cloaca slit right there, but it's not painted in like on some of their other models. And you got a little bit of a seam line right here where the tail is attached to the body. But all in all, it is a nice sculpt. I think just my biggest issue is just I wish the teeth were just a little bit bigger. You know, Qianzhousaurus did not have the same type of teeth as Tyrannosaurus Rex. They had smaller, flatter, more dagger-like teeth compared to like the giant railroad spikes that T-Rex had, but it would have been nice just to have those teeth a little bit more defined on the figure. All right, let's move on with some comparisons. I have a couple Tyrannosaur figures from Safari Ltd. First up is their Tyrannus, and right here is their big boy. Let me just move everything forward. Is their 2017 feathered Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I think all three of these figures look absolutely great next to each other. It just shows you the variation within the Tyrannosaur family. I absolutely love this 2017 T-Rex. I think that is one of the most detailed and best painted figures Safari has put out in a very long time. And here it is with some of Safari's other 2020 figures. They're Edmontosaurus, Deinonychus, and Pachycephalosaurus. And here are the other two figures I ended up getting in with the Qianzhousaurus. Here is the Dilophosaurus, and here is the Concavenator, and expect reviews on these two figures to be up on the channel probably within the next few days. So final thoughts on this figure. I do like this Qianzhousaurus. There's just a couple things I don't like about it. The paint scheme is okay. I would prefer maybe a little bit of a brighter paint scheme, but my biggest issue is the teeth on this animal. Like, they're really set into the gum lines, and just the way they're painted, they just really don't look that good to me. And like I said, when you look at this animal from the profile, this looks like a gumless Tyrannosaur that got all its teeth knocked out. But other than that, I think it's a really, nice figure. It's definitely worth the $12.99. Like I said, I was actually pretty impressed by the size of this figure when I took it out of the packaging, and it's a very obscure dinosaur, and I love getting obscure dinosaurs. Like, don't get me wrong, I love all the popular ones, but it's always nice when we get a species that we have barely seen in figure form. This, by the way, is not the first Qianzhousaurus in figure form. PNSO actually has one in their mini line, but this one definitely looks a lot better than the PNSO mini version. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I got this figure off of Safari Ltd. It retails for $12.99. The link is in the description if you want to order this figure for yourself. So that will do it for the review. I'll be getting to the review on the Dilophosaurus and Concavenator sometime later this week. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously, and it's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.